and I was even like older than I should have been getting creeped out by it. But number 4, Nightmare on Elm Street, good classic.
Yeah.
Music really does that.
Mhm.
3, Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
I'm sorry, did you say original or remake or both, or just in general?
Yeah, I mean, we can get into it, but the remake is just doesn't have that grittiness.
Sure.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Number 2, I'm with you on The Exorcist.
Okay.
And then my number 1, as a kid, not being able to sleep after watching this movie, regardless of how many times I watched it, the Amityville Horror.
So you guys have 2 overlaps.
Okay.
Yeah.
Amityville and The Exorcist. All right.
Brian, coming from the old school, what you got?
Come on, go.
Yeah. We got more overlaps coming here. My number 5, I have the
Silent
Thing.
movie era.
What's that?
Is this going to be from the silent movie era?
Yeah, my in high school I watched Nosferatu. Back in, no, number
That's
5.
not just a beer? Wait a minute, that's not just a beer?
Yes, I awakened to do this show specifically. The Thing, 1982. That's the remake. John Carpenter's The Thing, with actually Kurt Russell with a fantastic beard in that movie.
Great movie.
1982.
If it's on TV, I'm staying locked there for like the entirety of the movie. Yeah, it's a good one.
Absolutely, great movie, and we'll talk about I have an overlap with Dean. Number 4, Texas Chainsaw Massacre, the original. Remake was okay, but cannot beat the original at all. Number 3, The Shining. Jack Nicholson at one of his very best. Kind of a slow burn, but great payoff. The Omen, number 2, the original from 1976. And finally, my number 1, The Exorcist. So that is The Exorcist made its way across all of our lists. So we'll talk a little bit more about that.
I mean, we can dissect and go through them, but what does that tell you about if there was one movie that's on, regardless of where it listed?
Yeah.
That intersects. I mean, that's got to be the best, right? Or the scariest, whatever we're classifying.
Yeah, it's so well done, and like I was saying before, it stands up. Like it's still scary. Like it's some movies you see and you're like, or you saw it as a kid and you're like, you see it later and you're like, that's not that bad. No, dude, that's a horrifying movie. It really is. It's just scary.
Yeah, for me, that was out in 73, and I remember as a kid the trailers coming on TV, and even the trailers freaked me out. I remember watching the trailer one night, and I was so scared I had to beg my mom to let me sleep with the light on in my room. So that tells you how old I was in the era back then. But that was
because it was a
frightening concept. What's that?
I said because it was a candle.
Sweetheart, the candle's gonna go out. Mommy can't control it. It's gonna burn down.
That's right. As she came into my straw bed and had to tie me in there to stop the bed bugs from getting in and all that stuff.
I don't know how familiar you are with Pumpkinhead, but you are like the children at the beginning of Pumpkinhead. Like, is it gonna be all right? Should I be afraid? You're all in one big room. Your house is one giant room.
So what about that movie scared you guys the most, The Exorcist?
You know what?
There's a lot of it.
Actually, I will tell you, not necessarily what scared me, but like, all right, I'll put it this way: the demon wasn't even the scariest part about it. It was the performance of the priest and like everything he was going through, like the music, like the fly part. And, yeah, I mean, just the shit that he was going through, to me, was scarier than a girl with makeup on. Yeah, I mean, that was scary, and the performance was cool and whatnot. But yeah, just his performance, to me, was the scariest part of it.
Now, was the remember the part where like with the part where she's coming down the stairs, like walking like backwards, like
in the
was that not originally in it? That was added later.
No, that was an additional scene they added in the re-release. That was pretty creepy though.
Right, yeah. Yeah.
I tell you what, real quick, because I was a fan as a kid, and I praise this movie up and down to my sister, my oldest sister, actually, how scary the movie was. And then around that time, they come out in the theater with it. And she's like, well, then let's go see it. I'm like, and I've talked this movie up to no end. We get in there. When they add 45 minutes of extra time, you realize why it wasn't in the original. Like, I'm looking and sitting there going, oh, crap. This isn't as good as I remember and I went home watching it on VHS, and it was just as fine. But that 45 minutes, you're like, okay, this drags on and on and on.
I have breaking news, and this is just off the newsroom floor.
Okay.
That was your younger sister.
Oh, okay.
She just came down the stairs and heard you. We only do facts here, people. We're no fabrication of stories here. Because that's an important detail.
What was the breaking news?
That it was her that you were telling that's something happened. But
Really? I thought did she go to the theater with me?
I'm getting a nod. Yes, we're receiving.
Okay.
Yes,
okay.
Yes, she did. Yes.
Instant fact check.
There.
Yeah, that movie to me, it was kind of definitely a slow build up, and how she got possessed was a little flimsy. It's like they do show wherever he was, and had the statue of the demon, and that was the demon that eventually did possess her. I think it's Pazuzu or something like that. It's not Satan. It's some other demon. And then it shows her kind of playing with the Ouija board in the basement, and all of a sudden, she starts to get turned and this and that. So, but I guess that's okay. They didn't need some whole big story, but it was a little flimsy how she got possessed, I guess. But her performance, Linda Blair, back then as a kid, I remember thinking like, God damn it, that performance would like scar a child for life. I mean, how she built up to it, and the swearing and the makeup and all that stuff that she did was very intense.
Yeah. Does a young teenage girl have to sign waivers before she does that with a crucifix in a movie? You know what I mean? Like
that scene was pretty
right.
intense.
Yeah.
But just a great build up, great story. But when she did get possessed, and the scenes with her mom and then the priest coming in, all that, obviously that took it to a whole other level. The actual coldness in the room, seeing their breath, the help me on her body.
Right.
Yeah.
She opened her shirt was very frightening.
Yeah.
And then they had they had the older actress overdub her voice to take it to another creepiness factor and everything. And then finally the ultimate sacrifice of the priest to save her. And just, all the way around horrifying movie. So I actually looked up a couple of things about this since we overlapped, and I had no idea how acclaimed that movie was back then. It actually won an Academy Award back in '74 for best screenplay, best adaptation from a novel. It was from an actual novel in '71. Huh. It won the best sound mixing in '70, but in the Golden Globes in '74, Linda Blair won best supporting actress.
No shit.
Best motion picture drama, best director William Friedkin,
drama,
and best screenplay Golden Globe. What's that?
It won best drama
in the Golden Globes. Yeah.
Huh.
Think about that. How many horror movies?
Those are deserved awards. I don't know what came out that year also, but that's all seems pretty deserved. The well done movie.
Absolutely. Over 441 million at the box office, if I wrote my numbers down correctly here. So maybe it's 41 points. I don't know, but it made a lot of money at the box office. Definitely well written, well acted. There you go. So The Exorcist.
Yep. Yeah. Good one.
Other overlaps. So you guys both had the Amityville Horror.
Yeah.
Why?
Is it based on a true story? Correct.
Loosely.
Ish.
It is. It's based on a story that turned out to be false, but
kind of like Blair Witch.
What? That's a whole.
Blair Witch was always known to, or not always known, but always planned to be.
I have that on a honorable mention list.
Okay. Yeah, I've got some honorable mentions as well when we get there.
The Amityville Horror was the Lutzes when they had when they did the story, they told this story, wrote, sold the book and everything. Come to find out that it didn't exactly happen the way, some stuff happened in their story, but there was a lot of exaggeration.
Yeah, we moved in and we moved out.
Right.
Everything else in between,
right.
We had a couple of houseflies in there. Who doesn't?
Wouldn't exactly red room.
Yeah, probably not an actual pig in the house. Demon pig, ghostly pig, whatever. When is the last time you saw this movie?
It's been a long time for me.
Me too.
It's probably been.
Didn't stop.
Oh, it's at least high school. So.
Okay.
I mean, that movie is going to come. We talk about famous beards. That movie will come up again.
Oh, yeah. Roland, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
Magnificent. Yeah.
It's just magical. Yeah.
The quintessential 1970s look, for sure.
Yes.
Yeah.
And everybody looked sweaty in the 70s. What the hell was it? Was nobody cool? I mean, what the hell?
It was long hair and beards, and all the shirts were long collars and thick cotton, and it's
flannels
just a lot.
And then also jackets.
Yeah, you're running from things, and
things
are tormenting your family. It's a lot.
The corduroy makes it hard to swing an axe.
Sure.
You would think. You know what I'm saying?
You can't be quiet about it. You have that zipping sound. Zip, 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 zip.
You would think it would give it away.
It would.
It might wake some people up.
That's right.
Yeah, I would challenge you guys. Now, that movie might have made my list prior as well until I watched it within the last 2 years. I would challenge you to rewatch that movie and see if you still think it's one of the scariest movies of all time. Because in my opinion, I was let down. My younger teenage memories of it, or even younger kid memories, were different when I rewatched it not long ago. The acting's decent, but the storyline is not a lot happens really for me.
My list, everything I put on my list, I based it upon when I saw it.
Okay.
Even rewatched it, I still wanted to, because I've rewatched Nightmare on Elm Street, and it's obviously doesn't hold up as a scary movie, but I was trying to think of it as along the lines of when I first saw it.
I disagree with you on that. We'll come back to Nightmare on Elm Street, but
yeah. Well, before we do that, let's go ahead and take a real quick break. Let's do.
Can I also just real quick one more thing on Amity? I was also going to say, I in my head as we're talking about Amity, I'm thinking, I know I've seen the original, and I know I've seen the remake, and I think I marry them in my mind. How similar are they, or how far apart?
I've never seen the
Ryan
remake.
Reynolds also has a beard. He also has a beard and he's swinging an axe.
A pulling beard. I mean, come on.
But
go ahead.
I don't know if they did at the end of Amity, if they did a different twist. I feel like it might have been a little different. I feel like I kind of marry them together in my head.
If I remember correctly, wasn't it a St. Elsewhere ending to where it all was it was all just in the mind of an autistic Deadpool at the very end?
I think you're wrong. No, but the original one, basically the biggest drama at the end, he went back and saved the dog, and they got in the car and left. That was it.
Brian, I was at least hoping that you would get the St. Elsewhere.
I say I'm representing the millennials. I can't sit here and act like I know what the fuck that is, so I don't know.
All right, he didn't.
And it tickles my fancy when you go for a joke and it doesn't land, and then I like your reaction. You're just
really
disappointed. So disgruntled.
Is there anything better than watching a friend's joke bomb?
It's not.
What is the reference? What are you talking about? What do you mean? It's St. Elsewhere. Go ahead.
They did what 7 seasons in the series finale. After all of this drama and everything, ended with the whole show was just in the imagination of an autistic boy.
Okay, all right. So hold that thought. We'll do a future episode of the biggest television series letdowns.
That
great ones.
That could be
best and worst. Just television series endings. Good, bad, horrible.
There is a similar theory to that with Friends, but we'll say
yes.
Yeah.
But we will do that in a later episode, and we will actually continue the rest of this episode right after this break.
Do you have to put Jason to bed? Is that what's happening here for a little break?
Among other characters.
Okay, Jason,
Not
Freddy,
Ghostface.
Come up.
Scream.
Yeah, we're not gonna use this part. All right.
Character.
I mean, I won't even have to stop recording. I'm just gonna plug it in. You'll look at the ceiling while I take him up to bed.
All right. Well, we'll pause, guys, and then
Okay.
we'll come back with our next segment, and we'll continue our top 5 horror movie list discussion. All right. So we will be back.
Sounds good.
All right.
Good night, Carter.